throwing up in cars. I painted his outside of his car.
Came down.
Like
and he
Nacho
was
Libre.
Do you struggle with like body image?
My little brother Loney had cancer.
I get what you're getting at. You didn't do a good job as a parent. Welcome back to another special episode of the Muddy Roots Podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Gage. We got Robert, Bill, and Ryan, and a special guest, Raymond, here. Back at it again. Back at it like a crack addict.
Tried to kick him out, but he came back.
Round two.
He just would not go home. Oh my
I was
goodness.
like, I need a ride.
Welcome. Happy you're here. Let's take a cup.
Yes, sir.
That's messed up. We tried to kick him out. He said no.
He said, so what's the next one about?
Almost a party foul.
Party fouls are crazy. You want to know one of the weirdest party fouls I've ever seen is in GTA.
Fuck.
We were
Allegedly.
so in GTA we're all system linked up, you know, and there's a blunt being passed around. And one of the guys who was trying to smoke, earlier that night, we were playing. You guys know the game Rage Cage?
No.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I don't remember how to play.
So Rage Cage is where you're bouncing the ball and you got to get it to go in your cup. If you get it first try, you get to move the cup wherever. If you get it after the first try, you just have to move it to the next person. And then if the person behind you or to your right gets his before you do and he stacks you, meaning puts his cup inside of yours, then you got to grab the next cup and drink it as fast as you can. Does that make sense? So this dude, we kept stacking him and stacking him and stacking him. So this dude went and threw up all over the table, and then he kept bouncing his ball like we were gonna keep playing, and we were like, oh hell no. And then so again we hopped on Xbox and we're playing GTA, and we're passing this blunt around, and he tries to hop in the circle. And we're like, no, you just threw up everywhere. What the frick?
threw up in
dude?
GTA.
In GTA, yeah.
Oh.
And then hops in the game, and we're like,
that's crazy.
bro, get out of the game.
Log
So
off.
stupid.
Go ahead and log off for me. Jeez. I'm not gonna lie, I had one of those happen to me. We were allegedly GTA. We were at a dorm room and we were drinking Everclear. And that is insanely.
That's gasoline. Yeah.
Yes, you will start a car with that.
That's
It
so
is-
gross.
And I don't know if it's like because we didn't drink or because we weren't drinkers or it was like we were younger, but we were chugging that thing and ended up. That whole night was a blur. The thing I remember is waking up in Arizona smoking a cigarette with a Chinese kid. I was blacked out.
Arizona?
Like Arizona border. Yeah.
Wait. Just off of River Road though,
Further. But yeah.
from St. George.
Yeah. From by the college.
Oh, yo way.
And so, but it starts out where we were drinking Everclear and we played some games, this, and this happened. And then I remember being in the back of the car on our way back after I was talking with the Chinese kid. And I was throwing up, but I was trying to be cool because there's other people in the car and I was in the back right behind the driver. And I would throw up in my mouth and my window was down. So I'd like put my face out and just go. And thinking that we were cool, I got Snapchats the next day, bro. I didn't even spit it out of the car. That thing was all over the driver, or all over the door, all over the back of the windshield. It was like on their cushion, and they're like, "Who the F sat here and was like throwing up in the car?" Bro, it was terrible. So I feel for that guy.
Damn.
Yeah, that was nuts.
I'm very much notorious for throwing up in cars, especially when after a mix or after a drink. Yeah, I painted his outside of his car.
Dude, we were on the freeway after a mix. I was taking him to Cedar City, and then he's like just chilling, like going to sleep, and all of a sudden I hear like he's like swallowing, and I was like, oh shit. So I like try to slow down, rolls down the window, lets like the air come in for a little bit, sticks his head out, and just like throws up with like half of everything going inside and half the other half going out.
It went inside too?
Yeah, I had to clean out the back seat.
My bad. But yeah, fuck that. That shit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I threw up in the car too.
I've done the same.
Ruben's car, yeah.
That too.
Oh,
but the
no, not
worst one,
two.
Oh, dude, it was bad. First one was we got done mixing at we started at 6 in the afternoon, and we got done at almost 10 o'clock the next morning.
Oh, that's a problem. That's
Yeah, and it was just because those are just because.
Well, there's your problem.
So just because other guys were from Salt Lake, everywhere, and we just didn't want to cut short, and we had McDonald bags, and Tony was dropping me off. Bro, Tony drives so crazy, and every turn that he did, he just yanks it. And I sat there and I was like, oh my gosh. And we were underneath the bridge right across the street from the mall. And I sat there and I was like, please, fuck, just get me there faster. And he took his time. And then every turn after that, he drifted the car. And I was like, and so finally, the top of my street, I got there and I was like, yeah, I'm almost there. And I grabbed my drink and I started drinking it like it was going to make it better. And after that, I did the same thing. I rolled down the window and I sat there and I was like, and he goes, you good? I was like, because I knew if I talked, it was going to be bad.
yeah.
And then right after that, I just sat there and the McDonald bags are on my lap. And I saw this, and I thought I got everything on the outside, but I looked down, I got it on the food and everything.
On the food?
Food, yeah.
What a waste of money.
Damn.
Yeah,
We're
wasted
fighting.
my money. And then I got the majority of it out, but I just started inside the car. And then, he drops me off, and my stupid ass looks at the food, and I looked at Tony, and this is when he just lived down the street, and I was like, hey, I'll come back and I'll clean it up and all that. And then I looked at him, and I'm holding the food, and I was like, you want some of this food? And he goes, oh, just take it. He threw up on it. And I was like, I don't know why I offered. I was like, and then the whole time it was just awkward. I grabbed the door and I was just like, I'll come down tomorrow and I'll clean it. And he goes, no, you good? I was like, no, for real, I'll come clean it. And I'm closing the door. And, dude, I was cringing so
you were
hard.
backpedaling while you're saying
No,
this?
I was standing there and I was closing the door
Oh, the car
slowly.
door.
Yeah. And then he's like, no, you good? I was like, no, I feel bad. And he's like, no, for real, you good? I was like, oos, I feel bad. Dude, it was so bad.
no.
God damn.
Dude, I was cringing so hard. After that, he's just been freaking just making fun. Oh, and then after that, I was driving and I was dropping him off. This is when he used to live up the street from where we used to live.
Yeah.
And then I had to throw up and I sat there and I pulled over and I opened the door and I threw up. And then I closed it and he looked at me, he goes, that's fucked up. And I was like, what? He goes, so if it's my car, you said, fuck it, you're just gonna throw it. But if it's yours, you're gonna stop, pull over. I was like, oh, fuck, let me just get you to your house.
That's what's one of the hardest things after a mix. I can't be in the passengers.
I have to drive.
Bro,
I can't be in the
yeah.
passenger.
I
I
have
like
to
to be
drive.
in control because then I'm ready for the turns and all that. If I'm in the passenger seat, oh God.
Yeah, it was that shit was tough.
I would even say long drives though, because whenever I have to when I'm mixing at my house and I have to take someone home and then go back home, or I'm mixing at someone's house and I got to go somewhere else that's further away and then go clear back to my house. Bro, there was one time I was mixing at the office and I take Vihoy home, which my little brother, he lives a little bit of ways from me. I went all the way to him, met my limit. I wanted to go to sleep, but instead I had to still drive home. So on the way home, it started spinning. I had to pull over, that turf farm on
Yeah,
Telegraph?
yeah.
I had to pull over in the turf farm. Fertilized
God.
it. Fertilized that shit. And what's sketchy is I feel like when I'm doing that, I'm like, well, if the police officer sees me, I look hella sus right now.
Yeah.
Dude.
Right.
Dude, do you guys get embarrassed by throwing up or no?
Oh hell yeah!
I used to.
I still
There was
do.
there was one time where it was me and my quarterback from our high school, and we were meeting up with these two other girls, and we bought this whole bottle of cheap ass vodka, and I drank half of it by myself, and then when we got up to the hill, I could feel it coming up, and so I tried my best to hold it in, and one of the girls was right in front of me. And I looked out the window and all I could see was just the trees moving hella fast. And I just threw up all over my body. And then we got to the top. I opened up the door because I tried to like get out, and I ended up falling out the door. I like grabbed onto like you know how like some doors have like handles, I grabbed onto that and I ripped off the door, and then I just looked and I was like, these two girls fucking think I'm messy. I was like, oh my god. And then they ended up taking me home, and then Ruben had to carry my ass inside the house.
Damn.
And I was like, fuck.
Your little brother.
Little brother gotta take
I
you
came.
up
I
there.
was fucking drunk. I
That's
slept in the
another
living
shame.
room, woke up in my room. Don't even know how I got in my room.
Ruben probably carried you there too.
I had no idea.
This was in Cedar?
No, this is here.
Oh, here?
Yeah, this is my senior year in high school.
I was going to say, because if it was in Cedar, I had a Snapchat. So Jen sent me a
Oh,
Snapchat of this dude crawling like he needs to be revived on Fortnite. He's just crawling to a straight. And I was like, bro, what the hell happened to him? He goes, oh, he got crossfaded. I was like,
bad.
okay, can you
bro.
take care of him? He's like, yeah, I will. I was like, and don't send me shit like this again.
Dude, they got me bad.
Yeah, I'm almost there. I was like, fuck.
The most embarrassing story I have about throwing up while I'm drinking alcohol is I was drinking somewhere, I can't remember where it was, and so my wife picked me up and we're on our way home. This is when we're we're just barely married. So I'm like 19, allegedly. And I start throwing up, but I roll my window down to throw up, and I'm throwing up. And she's thinking, oh shoot, I gotta get him home fast so that he can throw up at the house. So she starts passing people. I'm in the passenger window, bro. I'm in the passenger seat, throwing up, looking up, and making eye contact with people. I was like, oh, you mother sucker. This is not the right way to do this.
Damn.
Yeah, I think you took the win on this one.
Goodness gracious.
It'd be more about it if you just pull this window. You need some water? I'm an Uber driver. Here, take this.
Hey,
What the man? Oh,
I'm an
no.
Uber driver. Okay. Next joke.
Don't ever laugh like that.
I hated that. Oh,
No.
oh, the silence was so loud.
Oh,
You
gosh,
thought
it
you
was.
wait. You thought you wait.
He said, "Oh, the hoes gonna love this."
Oh, man.
Oh, that was terrible. That was so awful.
This sucked.
Oh,
Oh my.
Take a cup for that.
yeah. What an atrocious freaking joke.
Give me one of the penalty cups. Drown myself.
So I know that in our notes we actually had this topic, and this kind of goes with like telling a bad joke, and then it's kind of embarrassing or whatever. Do you guys have like any things that you know you're for sure 100% embarrassed about, or like insecurities?
Dancing is probably one of mine. I feel like I looked hella awkward. I have like long ass limbs. So for me, I'm not comfortable with seeing myself dance. I'm good with like if I'm drunk or if I'm like hella high, I'll dance without caring. But at the wedding, Sky's wedding, I felt so weird and out of place every time I was out on the dance floor. But yeah, if I was good at dancing, then I would be fine with it. But
What about you,
Yeah.
Rob? You got any insecurities?
Yeah. My biggest one, obviously, well, not obviously, but my biggest one is body image. But other than that, is like my teeth. Yeah, insecure about my teeth.
Why? Because of no braces?
No, it's just because like, so you have your big teeth your front teeth, like the ones on the sides are hella small.
Well, that's something you nitpicked about yourself, though. Have you ever gotten any comments about them?
No,
Just
but I just don't want. Just because I know how I see myself.
do you struggle with like because we're both bigger men? Do you struggle with like body image?
See, he says that it's okay. If I say anything,
Yeah,
it's-
you're an asshole.
What the shit?
And I'll call you out about it every time, too.
Yeah,
Don't do
so-
So
that.
fancy. You guys are just kidding.
Not necessarily. Yes and no, though. I'll have days where I'm like, I feel good, confident in everything. There are some times where I feel a little bit insecure about it. But I think that, because I grew up chubby, and I've been, you guys have known me, you two, but I've been super skinny before. I've been all in between. I feel like at this point, I'm just I am what I am,
Right.
and I feel a little bit more comfortable in my skin rather than. I mean, because you can always improve on it. You can always work out. You can always eat better, do things. So I do try to do those, but I don't think that I'm insecure about the way that I look.
Because for me, it's like, it's a hit or miss. Some days I'm like, oh yeah, I look good. And then some days like my love handles just pop out a lot more than they used to. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck am I? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
you just
yeah,
look at
yeah.
yourself, you're like, oh my God. But yeah, for a while, it gets hard to like look at yourself in the mirror. And then you just gotta like walk past it because you know, like, because in your head you kind of just make up your mind that you don't look good.
Yeah.
And so you just walk past the mirror, and that's how it was probably like 2 years ago, maybe a year ago when I was like at my heaviest. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, I cannot stare at myself. It's crazy how your mind can just like instantly make up like you don't look good.
Body dysmorphia. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think you're a lot better now?
No, I there are just days where I'm just like ill, you know what I'm saying, and then I just have to like move on. But I feel like it helps that I've changed my wardrobe, so I'm like more comfortable in what I wear instead of how I
That's a big
look.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Because
still
there's
a
just
struggle.
certain clothes that look better on you than others. That's just
Right.
Right.
There's new like clothing outline or clothing lines that do that. They purposely are tighter on your chest to make your chest look bigger and then looser on your stomach so that it doesn't show all that. You know what I'm saying? I want to bring it back to the big like body positive and all that here in a little bit, but one of the most messed up things I ever did, dude, was to my little brother Loney. My little brother Loney was always a bigger dude, and I'm not even fat. He was just big. And there's a photo of us. We went to Puerto Rico. Gosh, I'm gonna sound like such an ace-hole in this. So we went to Puerto Rico. My little brother Loney had cancer. So the only reason we were out, sorry.
Go. What are you gonna say?
Yeah.
The reason we were out at Puerto Rico is because Make-A-Wish, like, so he did the cancer treatment, all this, and he's doing well. And so Make-A-Wish said, we'll pay for whatever your wish is. And he chose to go to Puerto Rico. So our whole family went on a vacation to Puerto Rico. We're
Because
walking.
of him too.
Yes, because of him. So there's a photo.
Yes, because of him.
I am like actually sweating right now. So there's a photo of us four, me and my siblings walking out to the water. And my mom thought it was cool, so she snagged a photo of it. Obviously, we all have our shirts off except for my sister. And I took that photo, and it's a cool photo. And maybe I'll put it on the video. And oh man, this is not very good, dude.
I don't like the suspense right now.
I drew a muffin on his waistline. Oh. So I did the bottom of the cupcake or the bottom of the muffin on his moolie and stuff, and then the top part, like I went down with his handles and then came back up. And honestly, he's not that big. At the time, I thought it was hilarious, and then, man, dude, now I feel hella bad for it.
So in summation, you drew a muffin on your cancered brother who used his Make-A-Wish
brother, yeah.
to take a family vacation to Puerto Rico that you were
My
on.
little brother, yes.
That's so good for you, man.
What a
Wow. Ace hole.
This is the biggest ace hole I've ever
Golly.
met.
Oh my gosh. But for real, that's hella jacked up.
Well, it's just different when it's your brother, okay? When you tell the story, it sounds bad, but when it's your brother, it's like,
I mean, cancer patient.
Because you know what's also messed up? Dang, I'm full of them today.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, let it out.
Let's hear it.
So my little brother, when he got diagnosed, the city did like a fundraiser for him, you know, and so everyone's shaving their head for my little brother.
Oh, don't tell me you didn't.
Me and Bahoy?
Yeah.
Hell no, we didn't shave our head.
Damn. Damn.
that's jacked up.
Strike two right there. You got another one?
Yeah, what else is
Let
fucked
me
up?
think of another one, dude.
Oh my
How come you
goodness.
didn't shave?
Because I had long hair.
Damn.
To be honest, I had long hair, and I said, well, you're in recovery.
Oh,
Digging, dude.
that's awful.
I'm tired of digging.
Digging. Gosh.
You want to so kind of going over insecurities and embarrassments? That's not one of mine. I don't really get embarrassed by like past stories.
Yeah.
Do you guys get embarrassed by past stories or not really?
It depends.
It does depend.
Stories, not so much, but when they can back it up with video proof, that's
Ooh,
what it's
when
like.
you get caught in 4K, that's crazy.
I have been.
Explain.
Nah.
No?
No.
We can talk about it. It's open.
All right.
That's a safe.
Cameras are
All right,
off.
I'll explain,
There's-
I'll explain,
Cameras
I'll
are off.
explain.
Yeah, I just told you guys my life.
But I'm not going to show the fucking video.
Okay.
Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
Nah.
With 75 likes?
Not even. But it was after your wedding, actually.
I already know. And
Oh, okay. Since you know it, let's just keep
I have
moving
the
on.
video and pictures.
I don't know.
Nah, dude.
Go ahead. Say
I don't
it.
know it.
I was actually hella pissed that she was sending that shit out. We're drinking at Gage's like parents' place, and Chun was going around videotaping people taking shots, and I was drinking. I think it was like Jim Beam. Fucking chugged it. It went down the wrong hole. I coughed and boogers came out.
It wasn't like boogered, bro. Like he had the bottle and he was like, and them things came down.
Like
and he was
Nacho
just,
Libre?
like,
It
bro,
was
it
bad.
was.
The problem is that's not even
Worse
that
than Nacho
bad
Libre.
if it wasn't caught in 4K.
Yeah, and I was,
Yeah.
telling, I was telling Chun, I was like, you better delete that shit or like we're done. And the first thing she did was send it to everyone. I was like, dude, fuck
I had
off.
to beg for it. I
Yeah,
wanted it so bad. It was,
yeah. That video is like thinking about it still irritates me. I still get mad at her for sending that out.
See, that's really not that embarrassing, but since it's caught in video, it's
Yeah.
like, you want to know something too, though? I did that on the podcast during the Carolina Reaper episode. There's
Yeah,
a
but
point-
it
it
wasn't
wasn't
that
as bad.
Yeah.
I didn't
But like,
see.
there was something like, because our mouths were hot, I drank some milk, someone said something funny, and I went, and like, snot came out of my nose. But since I edited the video, the camera went 100%, bro. I cut that shit out.
Yeah, because I remember when that happened to you, we were both looking at each other and you were like,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
and then you like whispered to me like, my snot hella came out.
So how'd you play it off? Did you play it off?
No, I just wiped it.
Oh, and then
there was no playing that off.
Yeah.
It was.
Was
Were
it
they
worse?
hanging down here?
Yeah,
or what?
it was-
How,
it was-
how far?
I don't even remember. I was pretty blacked out.
I can't say.
So was it-
I've seen the video once and I was done with it. I didn't
Delete
wanna
it
see
from your memory.
Was it worse
Yeah.
than Jack Black and Nacho Libre?
I don't remember that scene.
I don't remember.
Huh?
I don't even remember that scene.
Oh, when he
Because-
takes a bite of
yeah,
like
he
the
takes a bite
porridge,
of the-
Yeah.
and then like
No, yeah, I
The
know the
snot comes
scene.
out?
I just don't remember how it looked.
Because if it's worse than
It
that,
is bad.
then
It is
It's
bad.
it sounds like it's bad. If it's hanging,
Yeah,
like,
it
does
is bad.
sound like it's bad.
But if it's like that, it's embarrassing. If there's no video proof, I'll say whatever. I don't care.
It is what it is. That's how I feel. Is what it is.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've learned to like own up to it. Just, Yeah, I don't care. Like that throw up story, dude. Tony would tell everybody, and like at the beginning, I was just like, dude, like, what the fuck are you doing? Stop saying stuff or stop saying it. And then that's just to the point where it's just like, yep, I did it.
But
But-
if you had it on camera,
That'd be different. Yeah.
Take a cup.
So, earlier, and this might be a kind of a sensitive subject, so we'll see how it goes. But earlier, how you guys were talking about weight and all that, I wanted to talk about body positive, and do you guys think it's a good thing or a bad thing for society to be okay with body positive versus not?
Are you talking about like plus size models and like
Yeah. Well, plus size models, and also like Lizzo was trying to lose weight, and people were like, "Girl, be proud of your body," that kind of stuff.
I think it's okay, but it is definitely more of a female thing than a male thing to be body positive. I don't know. Maybe that part is not okay.
You see that? You said.
yeah.
So what do you mean that part's not okay? Like you think that it should be body positive for men and women rather than
Right,
just-
right. Like more plus size men models, like more people. Because like usually like when you're bigger, you get downgraded, especially from other men and women as a guy. But it should be both ways, you know?
I think
Equal
it's
rights.
doing okay with both ways. I mean, like Fenty has a lot of plus size men modeling for their brand.
Oh, okay.
Do you think there have plus size men modeling for their brand because they're promoting plus size men, or just because the United States, our general population is plus sized?
Both. And I hate, because I really want to take a definitive stance on this topic, but I'm straddling the fence because so to answer your question, both. I think that they're trying to, I mean, everything's marketed. They're trying to widen their
adhere to
market
the
audience.
population.
Exactly. But also, you go viral for that kind of stuff. And it's just, money wise, it makes sense. Business wise, it makes sense. And then if you wanted to go viral for a lot of things, you'll do it. My hang up with it is almost the promotion side of it, promoting obesity, promoting unhealthy habits. And
Right.
I think that you bring that more to light, then people will be okay and accepting of it, and they'll let go of themselves. And I'm a bigger guy, so I like seeing somebody who's my size modeling is cool, because then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll shop there. They have bigger sizes. It's just at the same time tough because it's an unhealthy lifestyle.
Right.
But I do love the inclusive of everything. I do love seeing different variations of models, of actors, of TV stars, of stuff like that. I do love seeing that, but it's a double-edged sword.
Okay, I
Yeah.
get that.
I agree.
Because yeah, I mean, I haven't said my stance, but playing devil's advocate almost, if you promote bigger people and you're not promoting like fit and healthy people, that's almost bad for society, right? Almost bad for the economy, or not. I wouldn't say economy, but the general population. You could argue that.
Yeah. But so do you think that the years and years of promoting ideal women and ideal men, it doesn't cancel out the fact that we're just now starting to, you know what I mean? Just now starting to promote or show or portray a lot of people who are plus size for the years that we've done the perfect person?
So if I'm saying my personal stance, first, the question is what was promoted as the ideal woman and man? Are you saying fit and all that?
I mean, just look at any like Victoria's Secret model.
They're
Yeah.
all skinny.
You know, yeah.
Super skinny.
Right.
So I don't think that's necessarily right either, because a lot of those women are like anorexic and struggle with diet and they struggle with image just as much as the big girl down the street, because they're like, I need to be skinnier, so I'm not going to eat for 5 days. And it's like, well, that's not healthy.
Right.
Right. So I think there's a balance. I don't necessarily think you should promote being anorexic or overeating. I think you need to promote a healthy lifestyle. I don't know, maybe our bodybuilders need to be more, or sorry, not bodybuilders, our models need to be more full, like bodybuilders, I guess, but steroids is a different conversation. We can talk about that later, but maybe that's what we need to be promoting, is more of a athlete's body, something healthy that works out a lot and eats well and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Just like a fit, realistic.
Yeah. Just something that an everyday person could achieve, even though it's going to be harder for some and easier for others. That's kind of part of it. Everyone's created different. So some people are built to be bigger people, and then some people are built to be super skinny. So I don't know. I've just been noticing that a lot. Like when Lizzo, she talked about losing weight, and everyone was like, don't do that. Like, be proud of who you are and be proud of your body. And I'm like, she's trying to better herself. There's nothing wrong with being big. Like, nothing. But when a big person wants to get smaller because it's unhealthy, you take years off of your life, then it's almost like you get shunned for that. And it's like, bro, they're just trying to do what's best for them. And I don't get that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't get that.
I think there's a difference too between being proud and being confident. Like if like Lizzo was being like, oh, I look the way I am, I'm working towards a healthier lifestyle, but I'm confident in my own skin. I think that speaks volumes into something that younger generations could learn from. But again, there's a difference. And if people are kind of steering her away from living a healthier lifestyle, I think that's an issue.
Yeah. 100%.
It's hard to pick a side on this topic.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why it's like I don't want to straddle a fence.
Of course, promoting like bigger plus size people is going to make people feel more confident in staying in like their diet and their exercise form. But like at the same time, it's good because like you get people who are insecure and then they see a plus size model and they're like, oh, well, they're beautiful. I can be beautiful too. So I don't know. It's very hard to like pick a side and say that, oh, this is how they should promote it. But I guess no matter which way you look at it, you're just gonna desire what you really want. So if you just want to feel like you look beautiful, you're gonna see someone and you're like, oh, they look just like me. I can look beautiful too. But if you want to like lose weight or gain weight, you're gonna look at someone and be like, okay, this is what I think is beautiful, so this is what I'm gonna strive for. So I don't know. It's a weird topic to say.
I'm the
where you
same way.
stand.
Because if there's people like if there's companies promoting bigger style people for like you said for clothes and stuff like that, other big people are gonna be like, yeah, I want to shop there just because I know they have my size. But then at the same time, it's like for me, I'm insecure about my body. Back then, I could have just took my ass to the gym. Back then, I could have just chose to eat healthier. Back then, I could have just chose not to eat this amount of stuff later on in the day, like after like 8 o'clock at night. So it definitely goes both ways. But so back then, that's what I struggled with. I didn't want to go to the gym, but I just hated how I looked. But I also did not do anything
To change that.
Yeah, to change it. So I just lived with the fact. But another thing with the clothes too, that's what also would like boost me up to try to like go to the gym or whatever. Because I don't know if you guys noticed, but like if you're shopping for clothes, some stores won't even have your size, so you'll have to like go to like Walmart. I went to Walmart for like the longest time.
Yeah,
like,
H&M only goes
H&M,
up to like large or something
right.
like that.
And also like after XL, anything that's more than 1X, it's $5 more.
Oh yeah.
So a 2X would be an extra $5. 3X would be an extra $10.
Damn.
So it gets expensive.
But yeah, that makes sense because it's like more
Material.
cotton, more material,
Yeah.
labor and whatever.
Kind of though, to challenge your point when you said that you think people are going to just do what they want to do, like they're going to do their true desires. There's a statistic that I just heard, and I did not fact check this, so you guys can fact check it, whatever. But LGBTQ has been pushed super heavy, like equal rights and all that. And I'm not saying where my stance is on that. I'm just saying that it's been pushed, and I honestly believe the United States has done a good job of making these people feel included and all that. You know what I'm saying? So we're making people feel included, promoting them and doing all this stuff. That the statistic I heard was 42% of high school kids right now have done a gender change or identify as another gender, and then so they'll identify as another gender, and then of that percentage, only about 5% of them stay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get.
And so
I know what
I'm
you're
almost
saying.
wondering, and this isn't my thoughts. I'm just wondering and playing devil's advocate a little bit. Do you think there's a correlation of when you promote it, some people try it because it's the trend? You know what I'm saying?
Especially with
okay.
young minds.
Young minds, yeah.
are easy to.
That's
change.
different because we're talking about like seeing like plus size models instead of like someone saying, oh, be a plus size model. Because like with the LGBTQ, they're trying to get people to feel comfortable, and they promote like I don't know how to explain it, but they like kind of like just promote like, oh, if you don't feel comfortable, then like you
if you're
probably need
if
it.
you feel this way, then do it. Like that's what they're saying. And then I see what you're saying, because in plus size models, they're not saying just if you feel like you should be bigger, be bigger.
Right.
Which
right,
is
right.
transgenders, they're saying
like
you
if
feel like you're like if in this room, if you feel like you're a woman, be a woman. So I see your
Yeah,
point
yeah.
there.
But I don't know. Wait, what was your question? Sorry.
So I was just challenging the thought of when you said people are going to do what their truest desire is, and then when kids in high school now, 42%. This is the statistic I heard. I don't know what state or the United States or whatever. 42% are transitioning without doing any of the surgeries, just identifying as the opposite sex, and then changing back because it was wrong. But so 42% are doing it to start.
And just like 5% stick with it?
Yeah, stick with their transition.
That statistic seems really big. I'm not saying it's out of proportion. I'm just saying that's high. But I would counter with, is it something that kids are curious about, or not kids, but people are curious about, or are they just seeing it and following? Because I do agree with exposure. So, like, if it's in a show, like a movie or a TV show or something, if you don't like it, don't watch it. But I do think that exposure breeds acceptance. And in order for us to accept things that are not normal for us, maybe a little weird for us or whatever, that the more you see it, the more that it's just like, okay, that's okay. And I think for a younger generation, it would be a little easier for them if they're seeing it. But if you don't want them to see it, then censor them from it as a parent.
That's hard though.
Which, yeah, we talked
'Cause,
about
like-
that on the guest episode.
Like
actually.
teachers will start like
Yeah, that's over the
promoting
line.
it.
That's
Like,
over the
there's
line.
people that like where you're not around kids, they'll like even their friends will tell them and change their mindset. So it's, I don't know. I guess you just got to teach your kid to be
Who they are,
Yeah.
independent,
Right.
I mean, growing up, we were always told to be a leader, not a follower.
right.
Right. But I mean, and to touch on that with teachers, like that's over the line to me, I think.
100% agree.
Yeah. Schools
Yeah.
do super great with the separation of like church and state and schooling systems and religion and stuff. You know what I mean? That this should be a no brainer, I think. You should not
Yeah.
be influencing or having any solidified stance on someone's gender.
That's true. But at the same time, it could be like hard for a teacher because if a kid comes up with you with questions like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm like I'm comfortable with being what gender I am," then it's like, as a teacher, you kind of have to like give them support. So you might just be like, "Oh, maybe you don't feel comfortable with this because you want to be that," and that could just be not the case. But in a young kid's mind, he could take that and be like, "Oh, you're right." You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that you even need to support them as a teacher.
Yeah, you can. There's other ways around it, like to help them out, like help them feel better in their skin, rather than like support their like, yeah, change your gender.
Right.
There's other ways.
Yeah. Or
If,
even
if they go to that point where they're like, hey, change your genders, that's over the line. That's exactly what we're talking about. Like,
Right. But yeah, I
But
don't
what
think
if this kid really believes that, though?
then
What should the teacher do?
I would say talk to the parents.
boom,
What if the parents
right there.
suck?
I mean,
It's-
suck
it's-
is
yeah, like it's not
So-
his say to be like you guys suck. I'm sorry. I'm
Well,
gonna
so
take care of this.
we talked about this. Maybe we didn't talk about this when we talked about abortions, and some parents are just not suited to be parents. So what if that kid has parents that just don't give a shit and they're just like, "F you, I'm not listening to
I think you
So-
need to give them the benefit of the doubt first before.
So yeah, so it's funny that you said that. So I used to work at a treatment center out in Laverkin or Tokerville, and this treatment center was pretty much an all girls school, and it was more of like identifying your sexuality, like people getting belittled just because of their like they want to be transgender or they want to be they want to be identified as this and this. So I see where you're coming from, because there's kids in there that identified, obviously they're all girls. There's kids in there that identified them as like as a guy, so they changed their pronouns to he or him. And then there's also kids that identified themselves as they them. I had this kid that came up to one of the staff, and she was just like, "Well, I want to do like, or I want to identify myself as they and them, but I just don't know the staff was like talking to him, and then that kid will go up to the teacher. The teacher was like, "Well, I think you should identify yourself as they them," and then came up to me and was like, "Well, should I identify myself as they them?" And I was like, "What do you think about it?" So I'm just confused about I'm just confused at, this and this. And I was like, I'm not going to touch up on it. Obviously that's your decision. What you should go talk to is your parents. And then she was just like, well, I've been by myself since I was like the age of 11. So she's been bouncing from like foster home. And I was like, okay, the next best thing for you, since this other person knows you best, is talk to your therapist. And so they would go and talk to their therapist, and therapist would, because I don't sit in their therapy session, but the therapist would obviously drop some knowledge, because she would come back and be like, well, I think I found out, like I slept on it, but I think I'm just gonna stick with she and her. And I was like, okay, that's perfect. You shouldn't have anybody else to go and identify you yourself. Mm-hmm. You should come up with that. Like if you want to be they them, then be they them. You shouldn't be asking other people.
Yep.
Other people their opinions.
Which, two parts of that. I think it is the parent's responsibility. I actually agree with you guys. If the teacher gets asked that question, they need to say, ask your parent. But if the parent didn't do a good job and build that trust relationship with their child's not going to ask, and also the child's not going to care what the opinion of the parent is, and they're not going to listen. They're not going to do all that. So if the parent didn't do a good job, or if they weren't there in the life, or they're in and out of foster homes and all that, then they don't really have a parent. But the next person that it should go to is a doctor or therapist. Teachers are not trained to like read these young people's minds and be like, oh, yep, you should transition. Yeah. It's like, no, that's not your job. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Your job is to educate them in history, math, whatever the subject be. That type of stuff is for a therapist or for a doctor or for a parent. So I struggle with that a lot, actually. I've heard a lot about that.
A little weird because I know a lot of kids are not comfortable with talking to their parents, like asking these questions to their parents or like to a therapist, like even a doctor. So like someone as like a teacher they see as like a friend, or like someone they can they take their advice and they trust it. So like I guess that's where they would go and like ask the teacher. And if the teacher knows how their relationship is with their parents, like the best thing you can do is give them some advice, but at the same time, it's a young kid. They can interpret the advice way differently than how you meant to get it across.
But I just read an article, actually. Oh, shoot. I can't remember what state it was. The mom sued the school for $100,000 because her daughter thought about transitioning, and so she was talking to the teacher, and the teacher said, "Do it, be a boy." And so it was just pronouns.
That's too far.
It was just pronouns, and so the teacher's like, "If you believe you should do it, just do it." And so she did it, and then all of a sudden, the school she started getting called he him. He started getting called he him. But then like a month passed and she's like, I want to go back. Like, this sucks. So then she's telling her mom about the whole situation. And the mom's like, wait, your teacher told you to do that without knowing the whole story? Mm-hmm. So then she sued the school. The reason is because teachers are not like, you think about like insurance. She's not covered to do that. Like if she does it and messes up, she didn't go to school.
Licenses and everything.
Yeah, she didn't go to school to learn how to handle that situation. Mm-hmm. So I agree with what you're saying. Like students talk to their teachers because they have that relationship.
Right.
That's the job of the parent. You have to instill that into your kids. And I know we've talked about disciplining and stuff like that. Yeah. But also as a parent, that's part of your job. Is like let your kids know like, hey, I love you no matter what. If you ever have anything, come talk to me. So then that relationship's there. And then same thing with a therapist and a doctor. Like, get your child into a therapist or a doctor. That is their job to build that relationship before you dive into those heavy questions.
I do agree that a teacher shouldn't tell someone to transition. 100%. They shouldn't be like, okay, well, do it. But I feel like they should be more of like make them think deeper. into what they're actually trying to decide on instead of just telling them do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like that's what a teacher
But that's what a
should
therapist
give.
should be doing too.
Right,
I
but a lot
believe
of people can't
therapists-
afford therapy, you know?
True. I mean, sometimes you can get certain things through the state and stuff, but I believe therapy is, and none of us have done it, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. None of us have done it. So I believe, and I'm not a licensed therapist, so this is just my opinion. Therapy should be a therapist sitting across the table from a person and making them talk to themselves and think through things. And then if they need any guidance, you kind of steer them a little bit. But one of the best things you can do in life, especially when you're going through those things like, should I transition, is think through it. Like, you got to think through it. You can't let someone else tell you what to do.
That's true.
Let's take a cup.
Yeah, let's take a cup. As far as like the body positive thing and like not fat shaming and stuff like that, I've just like seen a lot of people be like especially fitness people. They're just like, why are we allowing this? And they'll use like rude language, like, why are we allowing this fat person to like have a platform? Because then younger kids are like, oh, I can just be fat and still make it in life. And they're like, why don't we promote a healthy lifestyle? And I've thought about that. I'm not saying I believe with it, especially when they're like hella rude, like, why does this fat person have that? I'm like, whoa, dude, that's hella rude, you know?
Yeah.
Because like, for example, when you guys have kids and you're raising them, you're obviously not going to teach them from a young age, hey, eat all this shit and get fat,
Right.
right? I mean, if they're fat, you're gonna love them, right? But you're gonna teach them how to be healthy and how to have good eating habits and even how to work out and stuff like that. So it's like, if you're teaching it in the home how to be healthy, shouldn't you almost want that to be promoted? You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're getting at, but I think that also circles back to something that you said where it's on the parent. Like if your parent or if your kid wants to talk to the teacher because that's a friend, they trust them, whatever. That the bigger issue is you didn't do a good job as a parent to let your kid know that they're loved and that they're able to confide in you with their biggest secrets. So I think that even if they see a gay couple, a lesbian couple, a fat person on TV, they should know, and I've instilled into them that you are who you are. If it's this, it's great. If it's not, then that's just not you. And they need to be kind of, and it's tough because kids, obviously, they're a little bit more easily persuade. So it's hard to say that they'll be like that every time. But I mean, there's still things that when I was growing up that my dad would tell me that I needed to be, and I knew I wasn't doing it, or I knew I was going against what I've been taught, but it still was in the back of my head, like, again, to not be a follower, to be a leader, to be the one that stands out. So I think that the bigger issue is if you have a certain stance, which whatever it is fine, you need to make sure that your kids understand that and they grow up that way so that when they do see things that they're not as easily persuaded.
I agree.
Okay.
I want to address that, but we're running out of a little bit of time. We try to keep our videos between 45 minutes to an hour. So viewers, let us know if you like this longer content, because we're going to keep going. We're going to do a part 2 series. We're all engaged in this conversation. So go ahead and hit that. Let's hit the outro and let's get going. So thank you for watching another episode of the Muddy Roots podcast. We are your hosts again. We got Ryan, we got myself, Bill, we got Rob, and we got Gage, and we have Ray joining us. Stick around. We're going to do part 2. We're going to post it next week, so tune in for that. And let us know if you like the longer videos or not. All right.